alright, Sam, alright. Chili beans, chili beans. I could have sworn I took you for a shower last time we were here. Hello there, everyone. Alright, so, I've been doing things. Yeah, I've been in here. We're going to say I've tried my time full, Porter. Okay, so, first of all, I haven't got this on my correct screen, so just bear with me. There we go. Now, two things just to point out. One, I have done a few things since the last recording. Namely, I've just done a fragile jump. We went down to, let me just check. I think it was this one, next Doc's safe house. I believe this is right next to the Carol Artist Studio. So yeah, we did a bunch of deliveries in this area. We got the junk dealer to 5 stars, so that means we've now got a level 3 speed skeleton. It's actually quite decent, like I said. We got the film director very close to 5 star, but we just couldn't push it over. We got Distro Center to 5 star. And we also got the Alder to 5 star, which I think might be where this guy is. I tried getting the Lake Knot City to 5, but I just couldn't push it up in the end, so a little bit unfortunate on that one. But the one other thing I started is I built a road. So it's a bit hard to tell just from here, but it's this little stretch of road here. So, not a lot, but it's just a little bit of road, and it will come in quite handy later on. So, nothing down here or around the weather station, so we did do a bit of stuff. Anyway, we have got some recordings, well, I say recordings, we've got some mail to read. Hopefully not a lot of it's important, but let's just go through it. So for those of you who don't want to read the lore and all that lot, I'll put a timestamp on the screen. Okay, so, wowza, we have got a lot to get through. Alright, before I get started, I'm going to have a very quick drink because I get the feeling I'm going to need it. I've gone from bottom to top because I thought, let's just have the marked as unread. Alright. Also, mule. I thought I will try and cover the label up. Excuse me a sec. That's actually got a nice kick, that. Okay, so we're going to start off with The Novelist's Son. Gourds keep evil at bay. Mr. Sam Bridges, thank you so much for bringing that cargo all the way out here. Yeah, I literally just picked up a piece of cargo and took it to a shelter. It was like right next to it, if you remember. So, a little bit overboard. I must say, I didn't think I'd ever get the chance to meet the man I'd heard so much about. I respect your mission to try and rebuild the America of yore, though I can't say it's got anything to do with me. Frankly, I'm not even sure if I agree with it in principle. I really am grateful, though. Thanks to you, my life's work is back on track. My beloved gourds are looking more healthy and lively than ever. Admittedly, the ideal climate for gourds would be warmer than what we've got here, but I've managed well enough, all things considered. I hope my father would be proud. Though he made a living as a novelist, he was also something of a gourd enthusiast. I felt compelled to carry on his legacy one way or another, and since I'm no wordsmith, I really only had one choice. You know, I read somewhere that gourds used to be considered very lucky in the Far East, and that they used as charms to ward off evil. Kind of like that Dreamcatcher of yours, come to think of it. Alright. I haven't read too much about this guy, I'll be honest. I have got him to 5 star in the past, I think, but I've not actually read much on the lore, so alright, well, it's going to be new for me at least. So I mentioned this before, would you speak to Mama for me? Aaron Hill of Mountain Knot City. Yeah, this is basically a hint in the mail to go to Mama. Yeah, you guys will get it straight after you've got to Mountain Knot City the first time. I really wish I'd just read it, then I would have got the prompt to go there, but oh well. Alright, so Peter Englert, yet another earnest entreaty for pizza. My dear Mr. Sam Bridges, 'tis I, your most devoted admirer and obedient servant, Peter Englert. You are doubtless aware of the momentous occasion which demands celebration this very day. Surely not, of course, for I would be shocked if you knew that it marks another year since the joining of myself and my beloved wife in the bonds of holy matrimony. As you may suspect, there is only one way in which we would commemorate the birth of our union: pizza. You will not begrudge me my continued impudence, I hope. But how could you? It is only natural that for our sacred anniversary, I would seek to procure one of the incomparable pies only you can provide. I say one, but could we be so bold as to impose upon you for two? And if they could be topped with Gouda cheese, that would be magical. They should be waiting for you at the Timeful Farmer's Shelter. They provided the wheat for the dough, and I do believe they've taken the liberty of tossing in a bottle of their magnificent beer to boot. Thanks as ever, you really are a saint. Yeah, you're a git. Honestly, that delivery is a nightmare. I mean, the pizza isn't bad, but it's the fact that you've also got to hold a bottle of beer or champagne or whatever in your hand. And that means you can't use zip lines, you can't use vehicles. You are just stuck walking the entire way, and it's a time delivery, so it's a pain. Anyway, Victor Frank, even BTs have weak spots. I know you're probably doing just fine out there without any help, but you know what? You're going to want to hear this. Trust me. By the way, that's a cliche, isn't it? You're going to want to hear this. You remember that big BT you faced off with over in Port Knot City? The one with the gold mask-like thing? Yeah, I faced a few over at this side as well now. Quite a few at once, actually. Well, I reckon that mask might just be pointing you towards its weak point. Strange, I know, but true. And I know, it's like video games like having weak spots. See, when I heard that a BT had gone after Igor, I started doing some investigating. I mean, I wasn't just about to forgive and forget, you know. Anyway, here's the gist of it. Large quantities of concentrated caryllium take on a golden colour. In other words, if you see that golden glow, there's likely to be some major power source nearby. And places like that must be vulnerable to attack, right? Probably light up like a Christmas tree with a few well-aimed slugs. Anyway, I think it's the same deal with that BT. Give it a whack around the chops, you'll see some fireworks. Sorry, whack around the chops, that really sounds like a Stoke phrase. Shoot into the mouth and there's always a chance you'll hit some internal organ, and that's gotta hurt. So yeah, long story short, focus your firepower on that golden mask. I'm counting on you, Sam. Go get that thing for me. For Iger. Or for Eagle. Charles Kahn. People think Bridges are terrorists. Hope you're kicking ass and taking names, Sam. Weird HQ suspects the whole Central Knot Void Out thing might have been terrorism. Kinda blew my mind to think they're hitting the East Coast already. Things have been getting worse out here too. It was way quieter in this neck of the woods when we first showed up, that's for sure. Back then, it didn't matter what breed of crazy they were. Separatists, isolationists, leave me alone Atarians, whatever. You could at least get them to sit down and talk. Now it's blow stuff up first, ask questions later. All because some folks got it in their heads that Bridges and the UCA are the real baddies. Now, not that I'm saying we shouldn't keep on trying to speak sense to these guys. If we don't, we'll be stuck beating each other over the head with bigger and bigger sticks till the words covered in craters. But on top of everything, now we've got to deal with these demon wackos and their wacko-in-chief eggs to deal with. Not that he was always a total Fruit Loop. He used to be a porter. Ran his own outfit hereabouts. And then the postmaster went postal. Don't ask me how or why. I don't even think he could tell you. End of the day, only way forward is with each other. Hand in hand with our fellow man. That's what you say is all about. Am I right? The Carol Artist. Married life. Not what I expected. Dear Sam, did you meet up with Amelie yet? I hope she lives up to your memory of her when you finally do. I didn't get so lucky in that respect. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't live with him anymore. I went back to my mum's. It was terrifying, making this trip on my own, but I watched the weather patterns for days and made it, just barely. Maybe I should have asked for help, but I couldn't bear to wait any longer. For your sake, I hope yours and Amelie's story has a happier ending. Yeah, I still feel really bitter about that, though, as far as saying, you made me take you from your mother's to his place, and then you go and walk the way back. Thomas Sutherland. Is it weird to have feelings for bots? This stays between you and me, okay? I'm trusting you, right? Here goes. Thing is, I've come to have feelings for the delivery bots. Nothing weird, just, you know, how people are happy to see you when you drop by and worry about you when you're not around. Well, it's like that for the bots. I can tell them apart, know their every scratch, every patch of peeling paint, every little quirk. I know their personalities, and if we lost one, I can't say I wouldn't shed a tear or two. Sounds crazy, right? AIs and bots don't have feelings, but humans? Can't help it. And convincing yourself it's not logical and trying to fight it is easier said than done. Maybe that's why people used to name their cars, because they were more than just tools, you know? Not that you don't understand. You've got a BB. They may tell you it's just equipment, and you may tell yourself that too. That's not what you believe in your heart of hearts, is it? I do like that comparison. Well, the Cars comparison as much as anything. I think, yeah, I can believe that bit. The Mysteries of the Crater by Owen Southwick. So I read a report on the crater you threw that nuke into. Pretty interesting stuff. There's never been much volcanic activity in that sector, in that whole region in fact. We don't have complete records from before the Stranding, so it's mostly speculation. But the report suggested that it might be a void-out crater that filled up with tar, that it might even be a conduit to the other side, which would mean that whatever you throw in there would wind up on the beach. But again, that's just speculation. Could be we don't understand a damn thing about the crater, or the tar, or any of it. The engineer. If I could paint a BT's picture. I may be an engineer by trade, but I'm not half bad at painting either. You know, with pens and brushes and all that. Learned it from my mother. With the right tools and enough time, I can faithfully recreate what I see on paper, or whatever elaborate vistas I can envision with my mind's eye. Which got me thinking, what if I made a picture of a BT? I believe what makes them so terrifying is that we don't know what they look like. So if someone with dooms like you could describe what you saw, I could give you a word shape and colour, and maybe we'd be a little less afraid. It might even be enough to coax a few shut-ins outside for a bit. But even if we can't change them, I know you've changed me. Thanks for everything, Sam. Don't be a stranger. The Craftsman, the Age of Printed Nukes. I used to have this prepper friend, an old guy, who'd always talk about the good old days before the Stranding. 3D printing was all the rage apparently, and the tech could be used to spit out pretty much anything you could think of, even the most complicated stuff. Didn't take long for the first gun to be printed. All you had to do was input the right data and you had yourself a firearm. People didn't think much of it at first, just kids messing around and all that. But it didn't stop there. Printed guns became printed bombs, and printed bombs became printed nukes. Illegal as hell, of course, but the government couldn't do anything to stop it. If you've got no idea who's packing a nuke, the best course of action is to make sure you pack him on yourself, right? That's how people thought back then anyway. Mutually assured destruction for every honest citizen. People saw enemies in everywhere. Terrorists, sleeper cells, all that stuff. And then there was an explosion. The Death Stranding had nothing to do with nukes, of course, but people were quick to jump to the wrong conclusion. Almost everybody assumed it was terrorism. Why wouldn't you? Anyway, this old timer, he didn't want anything to do with other people. He just wanted to shut himself up in his shelter and be left alone. He was scared. Everything that came before had led to a world filled with weapons. I could see where he was coming from, thinking society and government were doomed to fail, but I'm more optimistic. As long as we remember the mistakes of the past as we strive for a better, brighter future, I believe we can prevent another explosion. Guess what I'm saying is I'm fully aware of the risks, but I think we've got to give the UCA another shot. Ironic considering he's already rejoined the UCA for quite a stretch at this point. Alright, quick sip of my drink. Alright, the environmental scientist. What's great and all, but... Dear Sam, thanks for stopping by again. I'm sure it was plain enough to see, but this farming experiment of ours has been a runaway success. I'll tell you what, if Amelie had never took on an interest in our research, and you'd never put us in touch with the weather station, folks, none of this would have been possible. Yeah, I read that wrong. Thanks to you two, we'll be able to provide a constant supply of food for one and all. Having said that, this life isn't exactly the one we had in mind. We came here to study the effects of timefall on plant life. We never intended to stick around and become farmers. But then we got to thinking it might be possible to reclaim crater soil, and one thing led to another. I don't know if Amelie expected we'd stay here this long, and we're still keen to continue our research. We've got more to offer than the world and wheat. But if we don't move on, does that mean we really have become slaves to it after all? I think what that is all about essentially is you can go out into life with one image of what your life is going to be. I mean, for instance, I left university and thought I was going to be a writer. And 9 years on, I am creating YouTube videos. So it's a different type of medium, but you know, there is a path that you're on. It's just that sometimes it'll take different detours. Okay, Benjamin Hancock, avoiding autotoxemia. How's it going, Sam? You still taking care of your BB? I'm sure you are. Not like some porters I could mention. Some guys practically shake their pods till their BBs start crying. Yeah, I've never done that. Some of them even ditch them when the crime becomes too much. Okay, we've not done that. Of course, quiet BB isn't necessarily a good thing. Could mean the kid's suffering from autotoxemia. Man, the thought alone stresses me out. It happened to me once, you see. I was out in BT territory, and I couldn't make it back to a private room in time. I could tell my BB needed time in an incubator, but I was too late. Autotoxemia is a terrible thing, Sam. He was just floating there in his pod, wouldn't react no matter what I did. BBs can't detect BTs in that state either, obviously, so even the most stone-cold porter would be sweating bullets. Truth be told, though, I was more worried about my BB than I was myself. Screw the PRBS. They're not just equipment. I don't go saying that to just anyone, but I know you feel the same. If you ask me, a BB's no different from any other baby. Treat them with love and affection, and they'll react to you the same way they'd react to a parent. Sorry, I know I'm getting emotional, but can you do me a favour? Try to make sure your BB never suffers from autotoxemia, okay? And if they do, take care of them and do whatever you can to make them feel better. I'd like to think we do go and help them when they have that they have got that bad, but saying that, I like to think I haven't gotten that bad yet so far. Just maybe the once, maybe twice. Charles Carnes, something glowing down in the crater. Hey there, Sam. Everyone's got something they're good at, right? Well, I'm no exception. Ever since I realised I was stranded here on this desert island of a continent, I've been keeping my eyes fixed to the horizon. And you know what? My vision's gotten better as a result. People have taken to calling me Eagle Eye Charles, and that ain't no lie. I spy things long before anyone else. Coral clouds subtly shifting in the sky, porters walking along a mountain ridge, an undiscovered hot spring down in a valley, you name it. What's more, I think I've got even better at it lately. I reckon it's because of the chiral network. Or maybe it's all in my mind. Whatever. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you about was something I saw the other day. Something small and glowing, down in the crater where Middle Knot City used to be. I really wanted to investigate, but we don't have any Bridges people in that area. Maybe it's something you could look into if you're ever passing by. I think there's something glowing as the memory chips, but I might be mistaken. Mama, the Fallen Angel, by Aranil. Mountain Knot City is now part of the UCA. Lochner explained about how it was all a big misunderstanding. What a relief. The tar's all gone too, thanks to that bomb. This can sound weird, but you know the ultra deck on Mama's left shoulder? I didn't used to think much of it, but someone told me it was a symbol of her atonement. She did betray Lochner, after all, even if terrorism might have been to blame. Couldn't help but think of herself as a fallen angel after that, forever barred from joining Lochner in heaven. Like, oh, friggin' hell, this hard one. Like, Abisafu. That one-winged fella who followed Beelzebub down to Egypt once upon a time to cause trouble for Moses. Guess Mama was feeling poetic when she redesigned her Odra deck and used it to comfort a dead child. Strange, maybe, though I suppose she was already dead herself. Looks like all that's in the past now, though. The misunderstanding's been resolved, and the sisters are whole again thanks to you, Sam. Mama finally worked up the courage to cut the cord and send her baby to the other side, where it belongs. It was the right thing to do for the kid. So the 201 and the Fallen Angel got a second chance. Just as well, because no one's ever really beyond redemption, I'd like to think. Okay, the Chiral artist's mother. What do you think of the Chiral boots? Yeah, okay, I'm going to skip this one. And same one from the junk dealer. How's my ladder working for you? They both give you Chiral boots and the Chiral ladder. Chiral boots are nice. I think they're one of the best. I think they are the best boots in the game, actually. The Chiral ladder, ladders get dated, so they aren't that good. Data interviews. Die Hardman, the terrorist view of bridges from 3 years ago. The first expedition set off without any problems. Both the advance party and the rearguard are en route to the west coast as we speak. They haven't reported any trouble with terrorists and the like yet, but the further out they get, the greater the danger is. There's a hell of a lot of separatists out there who want nothing to do with the UCA. Some more extreme than others, perhaps, but there's no denying where they stand. Seems like just yesterday it was only ideological differences, strongly held opinions at worst. But then Chiralium started messing with people's heads, turning extremists into demons, mules into Gestalt, and debate into violence. And now we're headed west into their territory. Invaders coming for their freedom. They're waiting for us, minds made up and guns in hand. Amelie and the others aren't looking for a fight. She's going to try and talk sense to people, convince them to join us. If all the cities sign on, our nation could rise again. No one wants to take anything from these people, only give them back what they lost. If only they could understand that. Alright. Next one. I'm guessing Hartman's got one. Hartman's always got something to say. So 3 years ago, BTs and void outs. The following conclusions are largely derived from a handful of eyewitness accounts. While I would advise anyone to take them with a grain of salt, I still believe they are worth sharing. BTs pursue their prey through a multi-step process. In the first, they begin searching for a target, the handprints left behind its evidence of this behaviour. Upon detection, one or more BTs will attempt to seize their target and drag it towards a much larger entity. To clarify, however, a void out does not occur at the point of contact between the giant and the human, but only once the human has been consumed into the giant's body. We think this may be because this is the only place where antimatter is present within the entity. It goes without saying that BTs are entirely different from any creature that is of this world, and we have much to learn about them still. One thing is for certain, however, we must come to understand them, else we may never overcome the existential threat they pose. Alright, what's the next one? Lochner and Malingen, 3 years ago. You know what we used to dream about? Seeing what's beyond those clouds up there. We spent our whole lives beneath a Chiralium sky. It's all we've ever known. But we also know that the world used to be so much bigger. Our parents told us. They were researchers who worked for NASA, though these days most people didn't know what that was. It went up in smoke around the same time America did, and all our parents' work went with it. But we still have dreams. That thing our parents gave us that can never be taken away. Malingen and I was named after a pair of craters left by meteors which struck the Earth 450 million years ago. For the record, Hideo, if that is true, that is very good research on your part. Or at least very good knowledge of some random sets of meteors. Or the craters, should I say. Okay. Those craters are proof that this planet is part of something bigger, that we exist within a vast interconnected universe. Our names serve as a reminder of this fundamental truth. Symbols of our parents' hope that our isolation is only temporary. That's why we joined Bridges too, to bring the people of this country together again, and to one day reunite this planet with the greater universe that surrounds it. I've said it already, I think if there is, which it seems to be, there is going to be a Death Stranding 2, I would hope that would be the next part where there's exploration of the larger world. Because if the first game was reuniting America, it'd be good to reunite America with the world. It might require a lot of work to do that, but I'm curious how they'd try to implement it. Alright, Prepper Shelters by the Elder 2 years ago. Back before the Stranding, there was all kinds of companies selling all kinds of shelters. Hurricane-proof, earthquake-proof, disease-proof, war-proof, terror-proof. Probably had a recession-proof model for all I know. Anyway, you could picture it all going to hell. They had a shelter for it. And the guys building them? Military types, astronautical engineers, amateur enthusiasts. Everybody and his uncle was out to make a buck. But if you wanted something that would actually last, you had yourself 3 solid choices. First, there's your American Survival Shelters units. They were a global military hardware supplier, used to build big government bunkers, nuclear shelters, all that. They started selling to the general consumer right before the Stranding. Interesting. That reminds me a bit of Vault-Tec and Fallout, just the idea that they just happened to be doing things right before the nuclear blast hit. Damn good timing, huh? Anyway, those babies were the creme de la creme. Next up, you had the Millennium Preppers. They made it big right after a string of terror attacks. Started out selling bank vaults and reinforced containers and the like. Wasn't hard for them to break into the shelter game, and they knew how to build them tough. Then there's domestic guys. World safety housing. All about affordability they were. Cheap and cheerful. Well, as cheerful as anyone could be after the Stranding. Still, they did a lot of good for a lot of folks after things went to hell. Alright, is that it? That is it. Memory chips, let's see, we've got Sentinel 1 of 6 action figurine. Ludens is the symbol and mascot of Kojima Productions. This 1/6 scale model was created by world-renowned Japanese figurine maker Sentinel Miniatures. The extra vehicle creativity activity suit he wears has been recreated in exquisite detail, enabling him to go boldly where no man has gone before, in order to spread the gospel of play. Ooh. Energy drinks and wind. Don't mix. Anyway, the bridge on the River Kwai. At the height of World War II, the Japanese army attempts to bridge the River Kwai in Thailand, an endeavour for which they enlist the forced labour of British prisoners of war. As the project develops, tensions emerge between those who want to see a good job done and those who wish to destroy the bridge. Tensions made all the more complicated by the backdrop of war against which the story unfolds. The movie won several Academy Awards upon its release in 1957, including Best Picture. The screenplay was based on a novel by Pierre Boulle, who would later go on to become even better known for the sci-fi classic The Planet of the Apes. While perhaps less clear in the latter, it is often said that Boulle's own experiences of war provided the inspiration for both works. I seem to remember Alec Guinness being in that, but I've never seen it. Soap bubble. Nothing is quite so fragile or ephemeral as a simple soap bubble. It floats through the air, dancing on the wind, all the colours of the rainbow reflecting in its surface, and then, just like that, pop, it's gone. Surely this is why a certain poet once likened the short-lived beauty of bubbles to human existence itself. Fortunately, there is no record of anyone ever having asked for a soap bubble to be delivered, and the porters of the world continue to pray that such a request never comes. Yeah, even a game like this, I would love to know how they would conceive transporting it other than in like a glass or something. But even then, I think a glass would be, yeah, that is rough. Pottery is made by digging clay from the ground and hardening it at high temperature. But while the resulting material may be hard, it is also fragile and will break at the slightest drop or knock. Charles Darwin was the grandson of the founder of England's greatest pottery dynasty, the Wedgwoods. And it was his uncle, Josiah Wedgwood II, who insisted that his nephew joined the HMS Beagle on its legendary voyage in order to further his scientific investigations. Had that not happened, the theory of evolution may never have come into being. History is full of such fragile connections, a thought worth bearing in mind when carrying out the delicate task of delivering pottery. Yeah, I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, I call it the home of pottery. It's certainly the home of the potters. I have said it once, I believe, but I'm just going to repeat it. I apologise if during that there was a load of background noise from my blinds. It's very hot in the UK at the moment, and I honestly can't shut the window. So there might just be some background audio. Apologies if you can hear it. Alright, so we haven't got BB, but we are going to do some deliveries. It also means no more Mads for a spell.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID.
Okay.
Verifying.
That man tells me your BB isn't performing to spec. We'll have to put your primary mission on hold until we restore its functionality. It's our only Dooms-compatible unit. And you're gonna have to deal with more BTs as you head further west. Case in point, Amelie's informed us of a tar belt outside of Edgenot City. A massive region crawling with BTs that Higgs supposedly summoned. And as much as we want you to get her out as soon as possible, you'll have a snowball's chance in hell without your BB. So your first priority is to help Deadman restore it to working order. Since he's on site, maybe the two of you can discuss it in person.
Sam, I'm a little busy at the moment, so I hope you don't mind if we stick to Hollow. First, I need you to link up a few preppers in the area so we can increase local chiral density. That's to bolster the connection between BB-28 and its still mother. Then, as I explained earlier, we need to correct your BB's alignment. To facilitate that process, we need to quite literally put some distance between you two. Keep it here while we send you out. If everything goes to plan, your BB should resume normal function.
Fortunately, this plan advances our other objectives. We want to integrate this region into the chiral network anyway. So build relationships with the preppers by making deliveries and convince them to come on board. It's not easy to make a home for yourself in those mountains. Even so, plenty of people had a mind to try. You'll find shelters scattered throughout. We've got a whole list of orders from them waiting to be processed. Remember, though, that you're dealing with folks who chose to live out there. Folks who probably value their privacy. Don't think for a second it'll be easy to win them over. You'll have to earn their trust, bit by bit, job by job. Another thing, Sam. You'll be making runs without a BB for a spell. That will vastly diminish your ability to detect BTs. So keep your eyes and ears open for anything out of the ordinary. And stay the hell out of the rain if you can help it.
Okay, so Diardman pretty much said the important stuff there. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit awkward for a spell. Let's just put our equipment on because, like I say, I did do fast travel and they always unequip things when you do that. So, yeah, without BB, we are going to struggle a little bit with BTs. Now, I have got an advantage that I kind of know where BTs lurk in the game. So, compared to some, I'm probably going to be okay as far as getting around them. But I still wouldn't call it easy. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Let's grab these ladders, PCPs, blood bags. Let's just grab what we can. Here we are. Carry on back, auto range. There we go. I don't think there's much else I need or I'm missing here. Okay. Confirm. So, take on orders. We've got 3 available. These top 2 are mandatory for the mission. So we've got to go to the roboticist. We've got to go to the doctor. And we've got an optional one, which is essentially go and rescue a porter in the mountains and bring him back. Now, that one isn't actually that bad. So what I'm going to do is, for this video, we're going to do a very simple delivery, which is going to the doctor. So I've been recording 32 minutes, so this will be a very, very quick one to wrap up on. And then the next one, we're going to do the 2 orders remaining. Okay. So I'm not taking the truck. We don't need it. In fact, let's just store that. And carry all that on our back. All right, auto range. And away we go. Yeah, it has to be said, the doctor is probably the easiest delivery in the game as far as distance. So, what we do... Oh, okay.
Sam? You read me?
Wagner?
Uh-huh. Calling you via a Bridges dedicated line. I've been asked to carry on in my sister's place and provide you with support. We're whole again. One. Forever and always. We still speak, so I shouldn't have any trouble getting up to speed.
You back with Bridges then?
It's not about that. Never was. It's about what she wants. What we want. And why shouldn't we help you? You helped us. We're all connected now.
Yeah, so Mama and Lotna's story is very interesting in that regard because it does feel like Kojima essentially asked the question, what if 2 people were one, essentially? Like, what happens if 2 souls were separated before birth? And what happens if they could be reunited? So I kind of like it because it does feel like... It feels like something that isn't impossible, but it's something that equally I would never have thought of. So again, I praise the thought behind it. I know some people might find it kooky, and to be honest, a lot in this game is kooky. So I think there's a point when you go, don't judge it. Don't judge it, because you know there's so many weird things in this game that you can easily accept. It's like, don't suddenly stop frowning at this thing. You know, it's like, yeah, like I say, I think it's a pretty cool idea. But anyway, let me know what you think, because again, I know some people who don't like Mama Lochner, but me personally, I think it's a very cool concept. If there's a Death Stranding 2, I'd like Mama Lochner to come back. I'd like most of the main cast to recur in some manner. Okay, like I said, this is such a simple delivery. You're literally just going up the hill and over. And 9 times out of 10, someone's already been here and built a bridge for you. Alright, make delivery. Here we go. Let's just skip the delivery.
A delivery? Oh, good. Excellent. Everything appears to be in perfect condition.
Alright, auto skip. S rank, awesome. We get 2 and a bit stars, which means he's ready to join the UCA.
There's something I've been meaning to ask. Would you help me join the UCA?
I didn't slow down there, by the way, but my rank's gone up a bit.
Then it's well worth the hassle.
Yeah, I should have slowed down. My porter grade went up a lot because I did all those standard orders in between recordings. I think delivery time might have gone up a bit. Because I did do 2 delivery timed orders. If there are any standard orders you'd like me to see me do after I finish the actual main walkthrough, do let me know, because I reckon some of them are difficult, and I'd like to have a crack at them if they're worth showing how I do them. Nice big slice that from the Doctor, I've got to say. I knew he had a bit on the chiral network, but I didn't think it was that much.
Thank you for that. I might not be as young as I once was, but I've still got plenty to offer. Oh, by the way, I came across something I thought you might find useful. You're more than welcome to it.
So, if this is the normal version of the game, you will get a Monster Energy upgrade. With the director's cut, it is a Bridges drink, or Bridges energy upgrade. Essentially, you now restore more stamina with your canteen, so it's quite good. Just for a simple delivery.
Deliveries have saved lives. And, as you know, every life that's saved is one fewer BT to deal with. Which in the long run means even more lives are saved. Please, don't give up. No matter how difficult it may become, I implore you.
I see you've put another shelter on the network. Nice job. Chiral levels are increasing as predicted, which is good. As for BB-28, you'll be pleased to hear the operation went well. There should be no need for additional major procedures. We're not out of the woods yet, but I think it's safe to say that the worst is behind us. All that remains is to continue expanding the network, monitor changes as chiral levels increase, and make adjustments as necessary. Drug therapy should suffice. Keep it up, Sam.
Okay, now, we may do a standard order afterwards, for the simple fact, I think there is one that is for Mountain Knot City, so it's a very easy way to just do a standard order. But in the meantime, we're going to end the episode right here in the Eden Valley Digestive Bath. Sadly, no BB, no Lou. The salty spring tucked away in a little-known corner near Mountain Knot City likely owes its existence to nearby tar pits. As is the case with similar springs, an extended dip can stimulate the digestive system, making it ideal for individuals looking to unburden themselves and detox. So yeah, Sam's going to have the runs after this. Yeah, good for you, Sam. Good for you. But yeah, it's kind of good for Sam because it means he can create EX2 grenades, but I don't use them, so oopsie. Alright, folks. I'm going to leave Sam there. So next episode, we'll go back to Mountain Knot City, drop off whatever we can pick up from the doctor, and then we'll be going up towards the roboticist. And on the way back, we'll probably pick up the porter who's in need of rescuing. So all of that to come. I'll see you in the next part. Bye for now, everyone.